Absolutely. But is it really realistic when you and this might be a sip or spit moment, right? And when you
Okay.
stressed, broke, raising kids in a hostile system, overwhelmed, ain't got what you need, that you can give your kids what they need as a parent.
I feel you, but at this point, we can't keep using it as an excuse to not like evolve, right? Um, our kids deserve better than like fear-based and oppression-based parenting.
Mm.
They deserve active parents. They deserve, parents who are present. And the only way we can do that is by being more intentional. We got to do the work, right? We buy books, we take classes, you know what I'm saying? We absorb all the TikToks with dating advice and whatever the case may be, right? We absorb media when it comes to the things that we feel like are important about us, that things that are important to us, right? We should be doing the same thing as parents, right? Not only should we be consuming content that's going to make us better parents or make us more conscious as parents, but we should also be listening to our kids. We should be actually spending quality time getting to know our children as people so we can better give them the tools that they need specifically, you know what I'm saying, for us to raise them properly, for them to have the things that will make them become the best version of themselves and not just try to force a round peg into a square hole and create a bunch of mini me's, right? Your
Ooh,
job
that's
isn't to
good.
create a mini me, it's to have a tailored approach to give that particular child what they need to be the best version of themselves.
That's good. And I think that's really what gives us agency to give our kids what they need, is to not make them such extensions of ourselves that we trying to live vicariously through them.
Because that's what most
Right?
parents are doing,
Come
unfortunately.
on. But then I think about also, and in ways that we discipline and we quote unquote correct our children,
Yeah.
is not from a place of teaching and learning, but from one of control.
And
Right?
frustration. If we
Yep.
keeping it real, frustration and anger too.
Yep. And where what you're a free space to release that, right? Which makes me think about the connection that you made to the ways that we discipline our children being related to slavery and
Yep.
corporal punishment, because that's even a conversation now that's coming back. I know down here they talking about it in the schools.
Put your hands on my kid, I'm putting my hands on you.
Where
But
I
but
just want to
once
be clear on it.
again, like I said, hidden kids just teaches them that when you don't get the result you want, put your hands on people. It is not gonna make things better. And we can have a whole nother conversation about how like modern parenting advice, we talking about like pre 2010, right? Not like ultra modern like right now, because we're having these conversations around gentle parenting and conscious parenting now. However, in the past, like when you had those parenting books that popped up around like the 80s and 90s and the early 2000s, those come from, unfortunately, Nazi Germany, right? Like, and I don't think a lot of people actually understand the connection between not only just slavery, right? The idea that children were unpaid labor and the entire purpose of children was just to benefit the state. Those things come from like Nazi experiments. And some of the first gurus when it comes to parenting techniques came from came from Nazi Germany, right? Um, and Hitler sympathizers. So the thing is that like this idea, like what is it, the self-soothing, that's Nazi experimentation stuff. And some parents still doing that, right? Not understanding how harmful that is to a baby's nervous system. There's no such thing as self-soothing, right? A newborn can't self-regulate. Like that's actually cruel. Like,
Yeah,
but
neglect.
so it's so many different historical implications on the way that we raise children, and I don't think we understand how many of them are rooted in trauma, oppression, and dehumanization. It's about breaking a person down, and we want our children to be mindless followers, workers and drones, and so we strip their identity away, and we kill their creativity and do all these things, and then here we are in 2025 still perpetuating some of that same foolishness and wondering why the world looks like it does. Corporal punishment ain't gonna hitting your kids is not it's not gonna fix anything.
I think the other thing that I'm thinking about as we're talking about this is our relationship to power, right? And the power that we are able to exercise, quote unquote, over our kids impedes upon the ways that we can help give power to our kids and help shape power within them, right? And these response mechanisms are related to maintaining power over, right? So